Dibble.
Well, right now the Knicks are on the verge of elimination. The Warriors are on the verge of elimination. Both were sloppy at the end of their games. The Warriors were just, it was abysmal. I watched almost the entire game. The fourth quarter was a joke.
Team game.
Team game. And when you die and live by that three, but my problem was, let's just start with the Warriors because they're the reigning champs. You come down the court, you don't even set up for a good shot. You don't set up for guys to possibly rebound. You got about a minute left. You're down by 3, and you come down, and within 5 seconds, Curry pops a 3. And it bounces right to the Lakers. They go down, they foul, and I think it was actually like a 1-point game at that point. And then they fouled, and it was 2 more shots, and now they're down to 3. And then they get that last shot before they have to foul. I think Anthony Davis with 5 seconds left, and they do the same thing.
Yeah.
They don't set up for a shot. It's just an off-balance, awkward shot, and I was just thinking, that's some stuff you see in high school. You don't see that in the NBA. You don't see that even in college in the NCAA tournament. You got to either call timeout or you've got to set up some kind of shot where if Curry's going to shoot a 45, 50-footer, that there's 3 guys that are around the paint that could possibly rebound it, even pump it back out to somebody, but they didn't. And so you lose games like that by a few points. I think by either overthinking that your team's better than they are. I honestly think the Lakers are a better team when Anthony Davis is playing a good game or a decent game. When LeBron is playing his game, when the other guys are doing what they're doing, they're going to put in 12 to 15 points, and they're going to play some defense that it kind of is in the face of a Steph Curry or Klay Thompson, and it affects the whole game. And I just think that right now the Lakers are the better team. The Heat, you guys, we all watched that game. That was a messy game. That's not a great product. It's not a great look for either one of those teams. But right now, the Heat have better performers, better guys that actually execute late in a ball game. And as I say, late in the first half or late in the third and fourth quarters, when you really want to get on some decent runs and try to put yourself in the driver's seat, Heat 19 points in the fourth quarter should not be enough to easily win a game by 8 points, but because the Knicks could only score 20, they win that ball game. So, I know that Tom Thibodeau is a big defensive guy, but when you need to generate some offense, you need a little bit more in the last 12 minutes of a game.
So for the West Coast one, I thought it was undisciplined basketball. I think if you're watching this with my high school coaches, they are just making us run all day and making us feel so selfish for the shots that we were taking. And I know what you're saying with Curry, but you would also admit that dude can make it from anywhere.
Absolutely. But when he doesn't make it, give someone a chance to get a rebound. Don't come down and have 2 against 4 and pop up a 3 when you have plenty of time.
He's never been disciplined in any other way.
The shot with 1 minute or a minute and 3 seconds left at the end of that game when you're only down a point was not necessary.
I even thought the first bucket was the 3-point from him that he just steps over the half-court line. They haven't scored yet, and it's like he shoots with nobody underneath the rim. It's like, he made it. Dude. So then that snowballs into a self-confidence that this guy obviously has, but there's some nights where you just don't got it, man. 3 for 14 from 3. That whole team shot less than 30% from 3. My biggest thing when I say it's a team game is Lonnie Walker, the fourth, scores 15 on you in the fourth. Like, not only can you not do team basketball on the offensive end where everybody's either waiting for Steph, waiting for Klay, waiting for these threes to start raining from somewhere, you forget to play team defense or any kind of defense. And the Lakers, man, I agree with you. I think when Anthony Davis is healthy and is playing 40 minutes, he's unstoppable on any team. I don't care if he's partnered with LeBron or if he's back on the Pelicans. This guy can be, if he wants to, the best basketball player in the league. And then you throw a guy like Lonnie Walker on the team that hasn't gotten much shine, is still trying to figure his way out in this roster, and boom, 15 in the fourth wins it for the Los Angeles Lakers.
But Schroeder is a plus 14 on defense with double-figure points.
He did a great job on D last night.
Walker is a plus 8 on defense, and he throws in 15 in the final 12 minutes. I mean, again, like you said, undisciplined, but then because you're missing shots on offense, you don't play better defense. And then on the defensive side, 12 rebounds just for Anthony Davis alone. I mean, so he had 23 points instead of like 40 points, but his rebounding was how many points that the Warriors don't get.
Right.
That's what I look at in basketball games. There's things that affect the final outcome and the score, and that's the same thing with the Miami Heat. They're fighting for almost every rebound, every loose ball, and it's just like, okay, the Knicks think, okay, we're going to come down and we're still going to be in this with a 3, or we're going to mount some kind of rally here, an 8-0 run. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't materialize. And so, when there's no sense of urgency. Now the Warriors, listen, the Warriors are old. They've
been there, done that.
They've got so many championships that and I'm not saying that failure is an option, but to them, this is not a failure. This is like, listen, this team is hungry. They want another championship a little bit more than we do. We're still playing our game with all these threes, and we're just not making them. Hey, that's our game plan. But the New York Knicks are supposed to be the better team. You're ranked higher than this number 8 seed team, yet that number 8 seed team, like you said, looks more in tune with each other, disciplined, and are executing at least enough of their game plan to where they have a 3-1 lead.
I would call the East Coast game, the Eastern Conference game, as I say, the Western Conference is undisciplined basketball. Last night's Eastern Conference game was sloppy basketball.
It was, oh my God.
And that's the kind of basketball Miami Heat wants to play. Miami Heat would want to get down in the mud with you, let you make a bunch of mistakes, feeding off even maybe some of their mistakes, and snowball into bad basketball games where they're going to come out on top because they're just grittier. Like Julius Randle said, they're hungrier. They want it more. The offensive, there was a series there, I think is when Kurt started turning the game off and yelling at us through text messages, this was bad basketball. There was a possession there where I think there was 4 straight offensive boards for the Miami Heat, and there were 3-point bricks and tip backs out to the perimeter. And that turned into like a minute and a half possession. And the Knicks are just looking at each other like, who's going to be the guy to do it? Because I'm not. I'm waiting for somebody else. The other thing I noticed in that Knicks game, RJ Barrett is a great basketball player and can score on anybody. I think this kid, the sky's the limit for him, but he's waiting. He's waiting for the green light from Randall, or he's waiting for the green light from Brunson. He's not the guy to take control and take the ball and make it all happen, but he can. He was taking Jimmy Butler every single time he wanted to last night. He was making his open shots last night. He ended up with 24 and barely even felt like he touched the basketball. I think this guy can bring a lot more to the table, but it doesn't matter unless they do exactly what Julius was talking about in the postgame. Want it more. Just those offensive boards are want. They're effort. They're not necessarily, being better than the other person, being taller. It is all about effort.
Well, it's positioning as well. I mean, that's what I'm getting at with the Warriors. They don't even allow their rebounders to be in position to maybe make a rebound. But then, like you said, the Knicks were out-hustled. The one thing the Heat are doing is they're following the lead of Butler. Here's the problem. Whether it's Brunson, whether it's Randall, they don't have a guy that is showing them through experience, postseason experience, how the game should be played. Yes, it's a basketball game, but for these guys, it's do or die. Like LeBron, he's talking to his young guys. He's telling them, when you're not playing, this is what you should be doing. When you're on the court, I'll show you what to do. And he won't even come out of the game in the fourth quarter. This is crunch time, gentlemen. I don't care if I'm 49 years old. This is where it means the most. You have to be on the court. You better fight to have a position on the court. And so whether you're Walker the fourth or any of these other guys, I think they're honored to be on the court with LeBron at the end of a game, because in 5 years when he's not playing any longer, or even if he is, he's not going to be the same player, but they can still be showing other players how the game should be played in the final moments.
The one thing I noticed, and I got this from TNT's broadcast, again, is Shaq, Kenny, Charles, and Ernie. And, during half times, Kenny always runs to the board and gives some kind of breakdown. And I really did like the breakdown he did in the halftime for the Miami Heat New York Knicks. And it wasn't anything X's and O's special. It was really attitude, where the ball gets passed to a Miami Heat player. It doesn't matter who it is. That Miami Heat player is shoot first. He is thinking, I can score. The reason I'm getting the ball is to score. There's a lot of teams that are still left in this playoffs that have maybe two of those guys on the court at the same time. Miami has no regard for who has the ball, who has the green light. They all have confidence into making big buckets. Kevin Love might be able loose on the three-point line. You got to watch. This Vincent guy, you have to be hands in the face. Strus, Robinson, obviously Jimmy Butler. Bam Adebayo knows his role as a 5. He's not out there chucking threes. But when he gets the ball at the top of the key, he knows he can make a move, one dribble, and dunk. I just feel like the confidence level is sky high for the Miami Heat. And the Knicks are all looking around at everyone else, waiting for somebody to do it first. It's been
It's a tough watch.
Frustrating
though.
is what it is.
The Heat-Knicks game was 22 for 69 from 3.
Frustrating.
And the Lakers-Warriors was 18 for 66. I mean, I'm not going to argue that these are, not the best teams in still left in the NBA playing, but this is the game you're watching.
Right.
And when guys can take over games, they get hot and they can score a bunch of threes in a hurry. When teams are taking over games, they can rebound and out-rebound and get second and third tries. And I think the Lakers and the Heat right now are finding ways when they miss their threes to get a second and third chance. Honestly, when I look at the Warriors, do you feel the Warriors are the smaller team when they're playing the Lakers?
I do.
I just look at them and I'm like, listen, they have a much smaller team than the Lakers, and Lakers are out muscling them right now.
Especially when you got, but the other thing
But I think the Knicks, on the reverse side of that, the Knicks are as big or bigger than the Heat.
Yes.
Barrett, Randall, some of these cats are just monsters out there.
But for the Warriors-Lakers game, especially the game the Warriors won, and they said this in their post-game too, the secret to their success is running around and making LeBron and Anthony Davis, old LeBron and big Anthony Davis.
They don't look that old right now.
They look great last night playing D. And I do like the strategy or the theory behind, let's try to face guard Steph and let Clay, Jordan Poole, Gary
Let them
Payton,
beat you.
someone else beat us other than this guy. Miami Heat are doing the same thing to the Knicks. They are not letting Brunson get the ball. And when Brunson does finally get freed up from Vincent or whoever else is face guarding him from 90 feet on, he feels like, well, this is my only chance. This is the only time I got the ball. I got to have to rush a shot up, and it changes his mentality too. I just like how both teams went out and played those in particular individuals for those teams as hard as possible.
Bench for the Heat had a lot more playing time than the bench for the Knicks, and that they seem, like you said, they seem like they're more apt to want to shoot the ball and put up shots. And
Caleb Martin is playing a bunch of minutes, man. He's playing great basketball.
So they had 10 bench points for the Knicks.
Oof. Who's getting those?
32 points for the Heat.
Who's getting those?
For the
Obi Toppin. Just
Toppin
a bunch
had
of pushbacks.
4.
Josh Hart
Hartenstein had 2, and then Hart had 4.
Yeah, just a couple of putbacks minus a couple of Hart buckets. And
No, but Martin and Lowry had 25 points between them.
I really do think Brunson, when he gets the ball, is somewhat of a ball stopper, and things kind of slow down when he gets it and the offense doesn't flow. I mean, their assists are far below what the Miami Heat had. It just doesn't feel like a lot of people are involved other than Julius and Brunson, and Randall and Brunson show. And I think R.J. Barrett, honestly, is the best player on their team. I really do.
I agree with that, but it's like you said, he doesn't know if tonight's the night I'm supposed to shoot more,
right.
What the script is, and should I pass it back out to Randall and Brunson because they're the 1 and 2 guys. And Randall, certainly with the way things have been set up the last 3-4 years, he's your number 1 guy. Now Brunson and he are like, okay, he's the hotter guy. He's the one for tonight. So if I'm the 3rd guy and I'm the 3rd option, I'm certainly not going to bomb away when I want to and put on my own show. I mean, that goes on. It's like you said with Steph.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Clay and everybody else. They're like second, and Wiggins and all these guys. They're like, hey, I'm down on the list of taking a shot this time.
On that team, man, what happened to Jordan Poole? Last year, this dude was getting, talked
You
about.
said the same thing about Jason Tatum, though. Some of these guys disappear in the postseason, whether it's in the script or whether it's in their own minds. I'm not going to be the one to lose it here. That guy, everybody talks about that guy.
I was just surprised, especially last night. You know that they're going to guard Steph. You know that they're going to try to take that option away. You should be licking your lips if you're Klay Thompson, if you're Jordan Poole. Gary Payton got the start last night. He had to run away from the court. I forget whatever happened to Gary Payton, but he was not going to be your offensive threat. I just feel like those two guys in particular, Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson, should be closing in on 30 points every single game when they come out there, knowing that all the attention is going to be on Steph, and they're going to get some rotation passes where wide open looks are going to come their way.
There was one game in the NHL last night. The Golden Knights now have a 2-1 lead over the Edmonton Oilers. 5-1 is the final.
Did you guys figure out what happened to Brissant, the goalie who looked like he tore his lower body injury? I know that's what we're going to get from the NHL or hockey, but we figure if it was a knee, if it was a groin, if it was an ankle.
It's hard to tell when they have so much padding on, and whether they roll an ankle or they just get caught up in their equipment.
So they had a big lead already, a little post-to-post action. He was going from left to right, and I just hate it when a guy lays down on the ice motionless, and it wasn't anything other than a pain motionless, like I'm just going to lay here. I don't know what exactly happened, but I know that if I move anymore, it might make it worse. He just laid face down on the ice. I don't know what.
Any of those non-contacts, you just you feel bad.
I know.
You start hurting for them.
But then they bring in the backup and does just fine. 5-1 final. Edmonton now down 2-1 to the Vegas Knights. Yeah. See what happens.
Big surprise there
as we go forward.
Yep.
Because you lose a goalie, even if the next guy's great. Well, can he be great for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 in a row? Because it's still a long way to go for a Stanley Cup championship.
Absolutely. Major League Baseball last night, Yankees finally get the bats going.
Against a good team.
Team's got 8 wins. I mean, listen, I'm not going to downplay these guys celebrating and stuff like that, but even Gleyber Torres, who's not having the greatest couple of years, guy hits a home run, and, the first one I think he thought was a home run to right field. It's caught at the wall. Next one's a line drive that makes it over the wall. Listen, Yankee Stadium is very easy to hit home runs in. And the way they celebrate, it's like a playoff winning game home run, just to give you the lead 3-2. It's like we talked about with the Nationals when they were losing 5-0, and it makes it 5-1, and you're putting on the robe and the hair and all the other garbage. It's just, dude, that's your job. That's the first hit of the year for Aaron Hicks, that home run. 19 games. First hit for the Yankees this year at home for Aaron Hicks. And we looked it up, $85 million contract.
Yeah, he's making 10 this year. He's signed up for the next 2 years before the club can option him out.
And I'm not worried about the money. They got the money. The thing is should this guy have a slot on the team? I don't know.
Need him now.
But Aaron Judge is coming back. They're 4-6 since he was down with the hip flexor. And again, I listened to the broadcast. I'm listening to these jabronis talk. Doesn't regret sliding head first. He goes, it's my natural reaction no matter whether I'm going to go feet first or head first. Again, this is a lack of communication and a lack of coaching to control your best player to try to keep him in the lineup. No one has talked to this kid about, dude, you don't need to steal. If we can't score enough runs with you healthy in the lineup, we don't deserve to win. But please don't steal when we're up 5-0, third base, which is really insignificant. If it's a base hit, you could walk home from second. I don't get the mentality, but the announcers are right there, drinking the Kool-Aid. Oh, it's okay. You can hurt yourself. No, the team sucked. They scored a run less per game with Aaron Judge sitting on the bench. So what kind of team do you want? Do you want Aaron Hicks in the lineup or Aaron Judge in the lineup? You tell me.
What did you think of the pitching last night? Nestor got the start, didn't get the win. It was Marinaccio with the win. Couple of new faces for you Yankee fans. That Ron Marinaccio got the win last night. He was there
last year. He's got more of a deliberate role in bridging the gap to the closer. But here's the thing. They've got good arms in the bullpen, but it's May.
Right.
May. Let me see these arms in August and September when we keep getting the last 9-12 outs through the bullpen. Let Nestor stay out there for 21 outs. That guy's got a great arm. He wants to pitch.
2 earned runs, only gave up 6 hits, 4 strikeouts.
He hasn't pitched to his all-star level last year. And I think that, listen, they made adjustments on this guy. And right now, hitters are starting to win the battles. And I think that last night was the type of team that, you know what, you better pitch well against this A's team because they're awful. It's a AAA team. So listen, I'm not going to over-celebrate a Yankees win, but at the same token, this team goes nowhere without Aaron Judge. It's going to go nowhere without Montas and Rendon and some of these guys coming back. If they don't get healthy, they certainly don't have a good enough team to win the division, but chase down not only the Blue Jays, but the Orioles and the Rays. The Rays are up 10 games right now.
And they beat the Orioles last night 3-0, and they got another one today.
Well, that McClanahan is one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball. That dude is a legit 98-plus, left-handed, filthy. And so when I watch that guy, I'm like, listen, you get that guy one run, that might be enough for him to throw almost a complete game.
Oakland A's, Yankees back at it, 7:05 first pitch. It'll cut our show off at 6:25 as typical there for those pre-games. Pitching tonight, who do we got on the mound tonight? We got Drew Ruzinski, all you Ruzinski fans for the Oakland A's.
So excited that he's pitching.
And then old Clark Schmidt on the mound for the New York Yankees tonight.
Yeah, well, Schmidt's bringing his 0-3 record into this game with a 5.8. Just like all those White Sox did against the Reds, they all got on the board with wins for the first time this season, so he's looking to get lucky. 7.7 ERA for Ruzinski and a 5.8 ERA for Schmidt. So that's a bad first month for those two young men.
There'll be a lot of bad stats on that Oakland A's team when it's all said.
This guy never has a bad month. Dama More. So let's talk some UConn sports. Let's talk maybe a little Ray Allen graduating from school. A little late, but better late than never. And we'll also talk some Major League Baseball with Dama More from the Hartford Courant next on the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell on your afternoon drive. Kurt Kaplan on the ones and twos.